Alrighty, guys. Today I'm going to be giving you a simple breakdown on how to use Bybit. I'm going to keep this one very simple. This will be very, very beginner friendly just to get you started without having to go through all these crazy technical details and all this sort of jargon that will honestly confuse you. So this one's going to be very simple for anyone onboarding onto Bybit. So when you open an account with Bybit, which there will be an exchange link down below in this video, um, you'll be greeted with an interface that would look something like this. Now, depending where you end up, it'd probably look like a chart, or when you click your icon and go to your funding or United trading account, you'll see different things. Now, this is one of my accounts. I spread my funds over different exchanges for safety reasons because I don't want everything all on one spot where I can just lose it all. Okay, because that would be very unfortunate. So I'm just going to tell you how I do things. This is my personal current situation, 2026, right? Just basically how I structure everything. So, I use Bit, Unix, and Weeks, and then Bybit, and a few others, and cold storage too. But this is like for trading and all that sort of stuff. Um, Essentially, what you're gonna do is you're gonna need to deposit some money when you get a new account. In fact, um, yeah, it's quite simple actually. So you go to deposit, you go to the token you're interested in, and you select the chain. Um, Now, if you're doing it from Australia, you will probably need to deposit into something like CoinSpot or SwiftX first and then transition it over. You can do, I think you can do cash deposits. Let's just move over here. Yeah, you can deposit USD, all that sort of stuff. But I would probably do crypto. That's how I've done it. I've onboarded from different exchanges and then shifted it over to Bybit to then use. So once you do that process, which isn't complex, we can use ChatGPT now, so I wouldn't stress about it. You then have funds that should appear in your account, okay? So once that's in there, that's in there. Now, also what I would recommend is going to the account settings up here and then also checking all the information in terms of your security. Make sure you're verified. Make sure you have 2FA, which is for the phone, so no one can steal your information. Okay, so you can have high security. That's going to be very, very important. Um, Once you've done all that, it's very simple. These trading terminals are very, very simple. We've got United Trading here. And the good thing about Bybit is you can launch a Bybit card. So over here, I've got a Bybit card I can spend things with, right? So in cashbacks, I already earned like 500 Australian dollars just from getting stuff. I mean, what did I get today? Like a drink or something. And that is money that goes back to your account instead of having to just use the Commonwealth Bank or whatever you use, right? And you can use that to go buy things. If you take a trade, then go use it. So it turns it into a trading flywheel that you can then use to then buy things in real life, which is pretty cool. Over here, you have different settings, different menus. So buying things, you got markets, you got trading options, you've got tools, finance, learn. Now, I would say ignore it all. You don't even need to know anything about that. I'd just say move straight over to the spot or futures, depending on what you're trying to trade. Now, over this channel, I trade Bitcoin. So really, I'm interested in Bitcoin. I'm interested in a few altcoins, and that's about it. So let's say, for example, Doge is up there, right? So Doge, where's Doge here? You can pick whatever you want. Doge, Bitcoin, they're all the same at this point. In terms of like trading, right? So Doge, Bitcoin, Solana, all that sort of stuff. Let's say you were interested in Dogecoin. Damn, that's a big wick. You essentially, let me rephrase this by the way. Your funding account is where the money goes when you deposit money into Bybit, and your unified trading account is where you put the money to then trade. So it's unified in that sense where it lets you put it all there. You can then trade on all the markets, and then it's really good. So you can deploy on spot, derivatives, this, that, options, etc. Now, there are other options to do like copy trading and TradFi, which is like gold and all that sort of stuff, but not today. Not today. If you're interested to trade in Bitcoin, this is all you need to know. So once you mark your levels out in TradingView, all this sort of stuff that we did in the last video, as you can see here, and like, you know, we have it all boom, 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 and you basically, you find your levels of conviction. Once you get to those levels of conviction, number one, you don't touch this if you're not there, okay? We're not interested in taking any trades if we're not levels of conviction. I always check the TradingView chart. I'll have it up on another monitor, and I'll be looking at this, and when I'm ready to take a trade, I'll just enter in. Now, if it's a scalp trade, I'll do a market order. If it's a swing trade, I'll just do a limit order in. Now, depending on how convicted I am with the trade, I will use a little bit of leverage. I might use 2, 3, or 1. I will not be going above that unless I'm using a very small portfolio and I'm trying to gamble a lot. But let's say I'm using the 30,000 that's in this account. Well, if I'm very well convicted on a trade, I will probably use 3x if the conviction is very strong, and I also need to know where my validation is. If I'm not, I will adjust it based on the rate that my conviction is based on the level we're in. For example, let's just take a point in the chart where I did have some solid conviction. This low here, because this low came in there was another few levels that came into it, and that bounce, which I bought up pretty aggressively and took a nice scalp on that trade. Well, then depending on how confident you are, you'd be upping the leverage or lowering the leverage. Do never be going to this high amount like this. Like, for example, I have the borrowing capacity of like that much I could potentially use, right? I'm getting that off in case a button gets pressed that's wrong. Right now I'm using like $42,000 USD if I were to take a trade now at 2x. Or you choose to do a limit order, wherever. So it's really market limit. Conditionals you can set. I'm not interested in doing conditional orders. I want to be there in the charts when I'm doing something. I don't like to have it just being done without me. I want to be here seeing it, unless it's like a pivotal spot price level. Now, other than that, right, there isn't much else to it. Like, it's not rocket science, this entire thing. One thing that is valuable, let me see where it is this though, which is the margin style. So if you just want to trade with the money that's in the account and not have a hedging situation where it's like hedging via multiple assets as collateral, then keep it on isolated. Let me say this with clarity, because people get liquidated and they don't know it because they have it on cross margin, and they might be holding another crypto that goes down, that affects the evaluations of whatever, and it affects liquidation prices. So if you have it on, I think it's portfolio margin that way, offset collateral risk between spot and derivatives. So let's say your spot Bitcoin, I think you're trading perpetuals on Solana. If you do that differential right there, that's going to affect things, because if you're holding Bitcoin, it's going down and you have a position on Solana, your amount you can borrow is going to be tampered with because of the fact that you have this asset that's going down. Okay, so it's going to move your liquidation price aggressively, either in your favor or opposite your favor, but it's like exponential. So it's not great. So I would probably just recommend isolate if you're getting into this game new. If you're more experienced, do portfolio margin, but for most of you, you don't need to watch this if you're experienced. Now, other than that, that's about it. The rest of this stuff is not very useful to me specifically, but you can look into it. There's also stocks here now too that you can look at. You've got other things, but I just like this exchange a lot. I find it to be very useful, and then I love the card feature. So that's about it. And you just type the asset you want to buy. So Solana, let's have a look at Solana. If you want to buy Solana, you can just pop that chart on. And yeah, that's it. So you pop the chart on and then you can take an order. It's nothing crazy. If it's your spot, you just buy the spot how it is. So you can buy 30,000 Australian dollars right now, and that'd be it. So if we're going up, then you buy, then it moves up 11%, and what's 11% of $30,000? Is that 3,000, something like that? Yeah, about that. So that's pretty much the process for things. Okay. Is there anything else I want to talk about? Probably not. Probably not. Links in the description below for Bybit. And I just want to emphasize how cool the Bybit card is. It's so cool because I literally just tap it to my phone. And it goes, let me see if I can show you this. Literally tap it to my phone and it's right there. You can tap on anywhere and spend money and you get the cashbacks. So that's awesome. Links in the description below, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next update. For now, have a great day. See you later.